Hello there. In this video, I'm going to share with you some resources that I use when playing Starcraft 2 co-op. I use two monitors, so I usually open these help files on my second monitor so that I can reference them during the game. If you don't have two monitors, you can use your phone or write down the numbers on a piece of paper and put that paper in front of you. I will go through each of these resources and briefly talk about each one. Pause the video if you want to screenshot any of these. So here, this is the Excel document that has a lot of my records and information that I use. Here you see the map details tab. Up here we have all the enemy information, but I don't usually use this. I actually don't remember where I got this. I don't use this because I have a better one, which I'll show you in a bit. The upgrades for the enemies, I don't care about these, so I don't actually look there. I actually use this for the timings on individual maps. For example, you can see Chain of Ascension. Here you can see the places where you trigger the hybrid. I don't have these memorized, but I kind of know like more or less where each spot is. And here are the specific hybrid spawn times. There's actually another hybrid spawn time at 38:35 if the game lasts that long. I have color coded these into 4 different ones because in general, you will be in the first stage, second, third, or fourth at this point of the game. Not always, but in general, for me at least. So you can see the attack strengths and the tech level of each of the regular attack waves and the escort waves. Moving on, Vermilion problem. The timings for the waves are uncertain, so basically this time plus or minus 90 seconds, and here are the strengths and the techs and where they target. Also, here are the places where crystals can spawn. This is after the I think it's 8-minute spawn where you get one here and one here. The first 3 are generally like always in the same areas, so the ones after that can be random. Here, what I usually do is if at this point, I will check one of these islands. If it's not there, then it's at the other one. If there's only one there, that means there's one here, and one in the middle. Then the next one, I generally check this area, or this area, because if you don't pick this up, then they'll be lost. However, if you leave this one up here alone, it will still be there. And I generally clear this area because you can see here, there are lots of crystals that spawn on this side. So this northeastern island over here, I clear it. Then I check this spot or this spot. And generally, if the crystals are in the middle here, I don't bother with them because I don't want to clear this area. Here, I generally check here. If they're not here, I just don't do anything. And then for this one, later on, they're all along this area. So I'll check them here and I'll sometimes come down here. This hybrid is not as strong, so I'll clear this area. And by this point, I usually have about 18 or 19, so I just kind of hang out at the natural and pick up this one or this one. If it's over here, I kind of just ignore it. Void Thrashing. Void Thrashing, there are 2 patterns. Pattern A spawns the first wave at 3 minutes, and Pattern B spawns at 4. As you can see, Pattern 3, it hits earlier, but they're weaker. This is the tech. The tech levels are the same, but the strengths are different. Well, this one's a little bit different. And also the locations where they come from are different. So you can use this chart to kind of check where they'll come from. You should remember the spawn times for the Thrashers. I also have Void Thrasher Vitals just in case like I want to calculate exactly how many Scourge I need to use or something like that. Next we have Scythe of Amon. Scythe of Amon, you can see the attack waves random. I put these in different colors because on Maguro maps, if you type options, you can actually set these 2 to the same one and set these 3 to the same direction so that it's not random in case you want to do that. Here, this is for Karax, how much energy you need to snipe each one. And then also how many seconds you need to drill. So if you're going to cheese with Swan, I calculated this myself and added it to this help chart. Here we have just what hybrids you'll fight against which each race. And this is how you can press tab in the beginning to check which race. Generally, I look at the area to the left of the base. So if there's creep, it's Zerg. If there's no creep and there's lots of creep on the far side, it's Terran. If there's only creep north of you, then that's Protoss. Here we have two patterns for Temple of the Past. Pattern A is when the attack warning comes at 3:15, and pattern B is when it comes at 3:10. If you don't play this map a lot, then you might not have these patterns memorized, but I think it's a good idea to remember where each wave comes from so you won't be out of position. Pattern B is also noticeable when at 6 minutes when you fight one air hybrid, whereas for pattern A, you fight ground hybrid. So if you fight ground hybrid, you should prepare for drops. If you fight air hybrid, you prepare for an extra wave of hybrid plus an extra thrasher. And yeah, the rest here you can just kind of look. This is the patterns for the hybrids for the races. Terran can be either or. It's 50% this one, 50% this one. Next, we have Temple of the Past. This is like the spawn location where you can spawn camp with toxic nests, so could be useful. Takes some practice to remember. Next, we have missed opportunities. Here are the regular attack waves and where they'll hit, and the strengths and tech levels and the timings. Then we have the escort waves for each of the bots. First wave, second wave, the strength, and the timing. I don't actually memorize the timings. I just kind of know around this time it comes. They're like so... The numbers aren't round numbers, so it's kind of hard to remember. You don't actually have to remember like exactly where they hit. You just need to know. What I generally know is like the tech level and the strength. Next we have Void Launch. Void Launch is interesting because the shuttles, see I wrote the shuttles and the attack waves, they come at different times, so you kind of have to remember both. This is the spawn time for the shuttle, and then it will arrive with 30 seconds left at this time. So the spawn time, this is where it comes out of the conduit, but it takes about like 2 minutes to get towards the destination. So this is actually the time you need to worry about, because this is the time when you need to like kill it with a solar bombardment or something. These are the attack waves. The spawn points can be manipulated for the 7:30 and 14-minute waves. And here are the hybrids that accompany these waves. I wrote these slashes here so that I can remember which one, which wave that is. 1915 is the one where all three go towards the middle. This is where 5 go in one direction, etc. And then here are the bonus objectives. This is where they will hit at around this time. Note that blizzards affect the spawning times of these because the bonus objectives are slowed down. This is the calculation used to calculate where the wave spawns for 14 minutes. The easiest way to remember this is just if you build nothing there, it'll spawn on the left. If you build nothing in these two areas, it will spawn on the left. At least that's how it is for me. And then here we have the final ones. I wrote it twice just to like make sure. I found 2 different ones, and you can see here. So they all spawn at 23, but you can tell if the first 2 will go to the right and then the second 2 will go to the left. So what I generally do is I stay on the right side, kill it, then swing around back to my main and then go to the left side, kill this one, and then kill this one. And I skip these 2 in the middle. This one, Pattern B is it spawns 1 and it goes to the left or right, then middle goes to left or right, and then the last 6 still go to middle. So this is called a late V. The left one converges with the other one around here. If the first one is left, around like this area near the third bonus, between the first and third bonuses. This one is an early V. They go to the middle first. This one I usually just kill these 6 and leave the ones on the side alone. Alternatively, depending on how many I kill both sides because they're usually weaker, and just 3 of the 6. Rifts to Core Hall is really simple. Here are the attack wave timings. It's basically every 3 minutes except 2030, then there's more. And then the strength, it just goes up by 1 each time. The expansions are hit at 8 and 14 minutes. Dead of Night, attack wave strengths and tech. Nidus waves, and this is the number of special infested for each night. Oblivion Express, this one, I didn't write the timings for the Contaminate Strikes because I have a guide on that, and the magic number is 58. You can check that out. It's basically 58 before the attack wave from the same side. Vorazun Time Stop, I have a special section for this one. So you Shadow Guard at 3:30, then Time Stop at 5:25, then 9:50, 15:15, 21:30, 26:50. Or over here if you don't skip Train 9. And here are all the Train Healths, Train Vitals, Tech, and Strength. Lock and Load. Lock and Load, here are all the attack wave timings and their strength and tech. Minor Evacuation, we have panic timings. These are important. If you want to trigger the ship before the panic time, you should trigger it at least 10 seconds before this time. Otherwise, you have to wait an extra minute, which could screw with your attack wave timings because sometimes they will hit at the same time as the time when you have to start defending. So it might be more difficult if you wait for the panics. The Nidus timings I wrote here for the center ship, 5:20, 5:35, and 5:45. Mal Warfare. This one, I really don't have any of these memorized. I just refer to this to see the tech and strength levels. And I have a general feeling of where the next one's coming from, but I don't remember these at all. But you can check them out here. Part and Parcel. Here are the wave timings and the strength and tech and where they'll hit. Contrary to what many may think, the 14-minute and 17-minute waves are not random. If you're still at Hybrid 1, they will spawn from the right side and bottom right. They will spawn from the left side if you're already at Hybrid 2. I'm not sure what happens if you're already at Hybrid 3 if you're that fast. Probably, in most cases, you won't be there. Bonus timings right here. Hybrid HP. Cradle of Death, attack wave timings, strength, tech, drop pods. This is when they'll come, the drop pods, strength and tech, and the compositions of the enemies that attack you based on the main race. And here are the stats of the 5 hybrids. I will go over the individual help files that I have in a subsequent video because this one is already too long. So stay tuned for that one.